Alright guys. Alright, lover monkeys. While I sit here and screw around while I'm waiting on my truck, I had a thought of a video I was going to make. I was going to make it at home, but since I've got some time to just sit here and talk to myself, and imagine I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to talk about you and your company, your relationship with your company. So sometimes with the companies, they'll promise you things to keep you around, or they'll promise you things to get you to do something. And this is mostly going to deal with unions. So with unions, we have apprenticeships. Same thing in here in California, we have laborers apprenticeship programs, which an apprentice labor really, but we do have them. So one of the issues that we ran into with one of the guys here was he was promised, he was hired as a COVID monitor in the office, you know, spraying everybody's hands, making sure everybody got their temperatures checked before meetings, and make sure everybody had a mask, wiping down surfaces, all that kind of stuff. Well, they had asked him, they liked him, and said, hey, if you stick around and you want to be an electrician, he wants to be like a pipe layer electrician. So joint trench is what we call it here, where you have communications, electricity, and whatever else that run in those pipes. So that's what he wants to do. So the deal is that one of the superintendents promised him, hey, if you stick around, we'll get you into that division, into our electrical division. And so he stuck around. He came out, he's working in the field, he kept working in the office, and with everything that was going on with all the COVID pay and everything like that, he was under the mindset he could have made twice as much money sitting at home doing nothing than actually working. But because of the promise of, hey, we're gonna put you to work, and when all this is done, we'll sign some papers and get you out of the apprenticeship program for the laborers and put you in as a journeyman. So he gets out to the field, he's working, and a couple of months go by, and he's saying, okay, I'm done with the apprenticeship program. I think I know enough that I can continue on as a journeyman, and he wants to make journeyman wage. He makes the call to the office. The office that he called was dispatched, and they said, sorry, we can't do that for you. And basically what it came down to is the person that promised him to be able to sign some paperwork and get him out of his apprenticeship responsibilities training, is that the guy was not knowledgeable of what is required from the union to actually advance forward. With the operating engineers, that is something that can happen. They have a set of rules set aside, so if a company says, hey, this guy is qualified to run equipment, and we're going to sign him a letter saying that he's qualified to run equipment, and that will get him into the union as a journeyman operator on what we call the C list. There's an A, B, and C list. So people that go through the apprenticeship program, finish the program, they go on to the A list because they put their time in, and they basically what we call paying your dues. And so they get dispatched first, B list gets dispatched next, and then they go to the C list. So the guys that get put onto the C list by a company, they usually have a job and they don't have to sit on an out of work list. So this kid, he's thinking, all right, this is great, I'll get my journeyman stuff and I'm going to move forward with my career and everything, and I won't have to take these stupid training courses, which will take 2 weeks. Well, it came to the end of it, and he got all upset and angry because he didn't even know, and he's joining that union. He didn't do his own research to find out that, okay, yeah, I need to have these classes to be able to journey out as a journeyman laborer. And they have, I don't know what kind of classes they have for laborers. I don't know how to use a shovel, turn it this way, not this way. I don't know. This is the digging end. This is the lean on end. Laborers, I'm making fun of you. Yes. So anyways, he went through all this stuff, got upset. He had considered quitting and going somewhere else. I talked to him, got him away from the ledge, and says, hey man, the company's gonna work you. Just take your time. You got to think about yourself first. Get your stuff done. And now, if you had journeyed out back then, the company wouldn't have kept you as a COVID monitor, because they didn't need a journeyman COVID monitor. They wanted an apprentice, a cheap guy, to sit around in the office and clean things. It was just one of the requirements that were going around. So it's something you've got to think. Can what the company is asking you to do benefit you in the long run, or does it not benefit you? Does going to the union, taking your 2 weeks of classes, and then coming back as a journeyman and possibly getting laid off because they don't need you anymore because you're a journeyman and we don't need any more journeymen? That's a possibility, because in the unions you have to have so many apprentices to so many journeymen. So if they don't need any more journeymen, they need more apprentices. You've journeyed out, now they don't need you. So you've got to think through the possibilities of what will benefit you best. Use the company to get whatever you need as an apprentice, like hours. Get through the hours. And that's something he got by working in the office. He got more apprenticeship hours to get to the end of his apprenticeship. All he needed was the 2 classes, and he journeys out. I believe he's scheduled himself to do that. So I say a lot. I'll have to cut some of those out. So anyways, I did this. When I went through the apprenticeship program, I worked for a company that worked me a whole lot of hours, but didn't pay me my overtime. And I took that as, you know what, as long as I don't complain about not getting paid the overtime, they're gonna give me a bunch of hours that will get me out of the apprenticeship program. That's what I did. I sucked it up. I worked through getting paid straight time on overtime and didn't complain about it. Got a ton of hours, got a ton of experience. I got to do things after hours, like running an excavator, doing this, just moving a pile of dirt from here to there, or loading out trash into a truck. I got to do things that I wasn't allowed to do during regular work hours. So it got me more training, it got me more hours. I got out of the apprenticeship program faster than I would have if I had just stuck to the 8-hour days. So you got to really think through and think of all the possibilities. It's something that takes time. You can't just make a on-the-fly decision unless you're 100% sure of that decision. So it's just one of those things. Think about decisions before you make a final decision. Some companies, they need apprentices. Some of them will say, hey, you're such a good worker and you want to journey out so bad, you can always go to them and say, hey, how about this? You need me as an apprentice. I want journeyman pay. How about you pay me journeyman pay and I'll stay in the apprenticeship program, and that way you get your hours and I get my pay. Some companies have done that in the past. I've seen it happen. I wasn't lucky enough for me to happen to me, but like I said, I went the other direction. I got hours over pay. But the experience I felt at the time was way more valuable than the actual cash itself. So there are things that you lose out as a union guy. You're losing out on retirement hours. The pay for retirement as an apprentice versus the pay for retirement as a journeyman, there is a slight difference. So you have to think about that. I mean, there's so many different variables you really have to process. You want to go to the union, find out all the requirements for whatever it is you're looking at doing, and weigh those against each other. Does what the company offer you benefit you better than what the union is requiring? It's just one of those deals. It's kind of hard to really explain it, but I think I explained it a little bit for you guys. I hope it helps someone out there. This is mostly geared towards you younger guys that are just getting started. Sometimes taking less to get experience is a good thing. And just remember that the experience you're getting, is it worth the loss of money or something like that? And in the long run, when you take that loss early on, the company will see you as like, okay, either they can exploit you and they're going to keep exploiting you, and then that's a company you don't want to be with. If it's a company that says, okay, well, it's an equal thing, they see what you're kind of going for, then they just say, okay, well, let's do this. And then they're going to think later on, okay, he's willing to be a company man, he's going to work with us, and we're going to push him forward faster than we would push him forward than someone else. And that's one way I look at things, is I can advance and get to the position where I'm at now by giving up something early on. A lot of guys will come in and demand things right when they show up. To me, that's not the way to do it. You got to earn the respect. You got to build the relationship with your company, your foreman, superintendents, and the office. The office is a big one. When I first started, I spent the first 3-4 years working in the Bay Area, a long way from home, living in a trailer, and I walked into the office every morning and showed my face, put my face around. I worked with lots of different foremans. I told them, hey, if you need me, you know, call the office and tell them to ask for me. And I became a nuisance to the dispatcher because all the foremans I had worked for were calling and asking for me. And that is kind of hey, look, everybody wants me. I think I need more money. You know, let me get a little more money. And also, once you get into the lead seat, now it's harder to get fired because everybody wants you. So sometimes you get to a point where, okay, so I've screwed up. I know I'm not going to get fired. I'll get a slap on the wrist, a drug test. Hopefully you don't do drugs. And it's, you know, you move on with your life and you continue, you learn from that little mistake, and you just keep going and going and going. So I hope this has helped somebody out there. At least give you guys something to think about. Some of these companies will rake you over the coals. Some of them will actually take you under the wing and keep you around forever. We've got a guy that works for us that he's been with the company 30 some years. You know, and the nice thing about this company is we have every 5 years they have a reward. My 5-year reward is a jacket. 10 years is you get a gold ring. At 15 years, you get a diamond on the gold ring. Then after, I think, 20 years, they give you a trip to Hawaii or something crazy. So things like that. Those are things that you want to look into companies. What kind of rewards do they give you for loyalty and things like that? So, all right, guys, hit the like button, or if you didn't like the video, hit the thumbs down. Whatever reason you gave for that thumbs down, put it down in the comments. Let me know why you didn't like the video. Color, sound, maybe it's just the conversation you didn't like. Maybe I said too many times. And it's just, you know, I need you. I need you guys to keep this channel going. Without you guys, the channel doesn't matter. It's I do this to try to help you guys out, all the monkeys out there. So leave comments. The last video you guys left a ton of comments on. It pushed out, it got more people watching, and I got a lot more views. Thank you for that. That is huge for me. It's not too much about the money, but I do need some money to keep this stuff going, to keep upgrading stuff. I mean, I have on my wish list is one of these 3D GoPros, or 360 GoPro. I want to try and get one of those mounted on top of the machine so you guys can have a 360 of what's going on around me. I think that would be an awesome upgrade, but they're pretty dang expensive. So comments, guys, subscriptions, anybody that's not subscribed, you can, there are options down there in the in your options so you don't get notified everywhere on your phone, on your emails and stuff like that. You can turn all that stuff off so you only get notified when you log into YouTube. So that's the way I have mine set up. I log on to YouTube, I got the notification bell up there. It tells me all the new videos that are out that I like watching. and that's the way you can do it. So there's no reason not to subscribe to the channel. All right, guys, I've talked enough, rambled on enough. My truck's back, so we'll get back to work. Talk to you guys later.